You want to just jump into it? I mean, take it away, dude.
We're going to do a shorter episode. I hope you guys are cool with that. We'll come back with some more fire next time. But yeah, it's International Women's Month.
Absolutely.
Or is it the month? It's Women's History Month.
It was the day on
Women's
Wednesday.
History Month includes the day of International Women's Day.
The day was on Wednesday, then the day was also within the month of International Women's
So
Month.
it's all a big... But two big incidents have just gone down involving...
Which ones?
Women
Tell us.
from all across the world.
Okay.
I think the first
International
one
Women Events.
Exactly.
There we go.
International
Women Events. Dun.
Do we want? Is that?
No,
like
I'm just saying.
The one-time segment of International Women's Event. You go high, I go low.
You want me to go?
International Women's Events.
Dun.
Dun. Okay.
I don't know.
So now that we've gotten that brilliant intro out of the way,
Just put it out there.
So Mexico has its second UFC champion.
Oh shit! No way.
And she's actually the same weight as the male champion. They're both 125 pounds.
This is who are you talking about? Alexa Grasso?
You nailed it.
Okay.
Alexa Grasso, who defeated another very international woman. She has Ukrainian parents, born in Kyrgyzstan, USSR, when it was still Russia. So she calls herself Russian, even though she's like Ukrainian, Kyrgyzstani. But at the age of 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there, she moved to Peru.
What?
Valentina Shevchenko, one of the most dangerous, scared, terrifying women on the planet. She has
one of the most decorated
gun tattooed on her hip. Just there were rumors going around in the fans, it was more of a joke than a rumor, but she's so deadly. She speaks 6 languages. She trains the Peruvian army how to fire guns. So she doesn't not only how
Is
to
she a spy?
exactly. That's the rumor.
No freaking way.
All the languages, not only the hand-to-hand combat, but she trains the
She's
military
a polyglot.
how to use guns.
She's a firearms expert. She's got an international Russian-based.
And she has 8 or 9 UFC championship defenses because the competition just can't even get
close. That sounds like a spy.
Until now.
Hopefully we don't die for exposing her.
So her last match was the first time people were first starting to say, maybe the competition, is getting there. Maybe they're not ready to win, but maybe they can get a round.
Okay.
Maybe they can get a sequence.
Maybe they can scare her a little bit.
When you play a video game and you kill the first little Goomba, but then you fall in the hole.
Right.
So you have to restart. You kill the Goomba, you jump over the hole, but then the next guy gets you.
They're learning.
Exactly. So each competitor has to go out and figure something to move the ball forward. And it took 7, 8, 9, who knows how many of these girls to go down until finally Mexico's own Alexa Grasso.
From Jalisco. I mean, I'm not from Jalisco, but I'll celebrate for people. Hey, los tapatíos, they've done it again.
I mean, the thing with the UFC is it's so Brazil dominant or America, UK, Australia has some contenders and then out of nowhere Mexico has 2 champions and there's only 12 in the whole thing.
Right.
So that's
was it 2 or 3? I remember reading it was 3. I don't remember who. I mean, I don't follow UFC very much, but
no, it's Brandon Moreno and Alexa Grasso, both 125 pounds.
Okay. But I remember seeing the fight, and again, I'm not the biggest UFC guy, but that fight was exhilarating. Even if you didn't know what the heck was going on, it was just nuts. It was back and forth, and out of nowhere, these crazy moves get pulled out. She's able to, I think Shevchenko is the one that's able to get out of a situation by running on the fence the railing or whatever. She gets out of it.
Kicking off the fence?
Yeah, it was crazy. And then out of nowhere you just see Grasso just put her in a chokehold. And it felt like it came out of nowhere. It happened so quick and I'm just kinda oh crap, did that just happen? But it was such a good fight because you could see that both of them were really going through it and being methodical and really engaging. They weren't afraid of each other. And I think that's what I like to see in fights, even in like boxing fights and things like that. Like when people actually go for each other, you know, like they're not just kind of like running around or like hiding from each other, you know?
So I'll hand it to you that Shevchenko like is confident enough that you say, yeah, she's not afraid, but I wouldn't say that she is absolutely confident because she has been so dominant against the competition that she might wrestle them just to kind of play it safe and get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's what happened this time around. I think Alexa Grasso on the feet kind of had her number a little bit, and she hit her with that power.
Well, because she was trying to box more, it seemed like.
That's what I'm saying. I think Alexa Grasso wanted to stand up.
That's the Mexican
and Valentina would have been comfortable standing up against most fighters, but she got hit a few too many times in those early rounds, and she decided, all right, rounds 3, 2, 3, 4, all those middle rounds, we're gonna wrestle. And
because I remember in the middle of the fight there was I think in the early rounds there was a combination that Grasso did at the end of the round that looked rocked her, yeah. And so it was just kind of crazy, like
immediately round 2 she switched it to like
bring her down, bring her down.
Yeah, we're gonna, because you can't hit hard from like this
right.
So,
and there was also, I remember a sequence where it looked like Grasso was gonna get like arm barred or something, and she was able to like spin out of it. I was like, holy shit! Like
the grit,
the determination. The thing to me as a non-fighter that I try and think about is when I see these fights is like the level of determination and mental fortitude and calm and like the positive self-talk they have to engage in while in the fight to be able to say like, just breathe, hold it,
keep it together,
breathe,
keep it together.
Like, okay, take a beat, because I feel like that's what they have to do, right? Like they're in a hold or something, or you're on the ground. It's like, okay, just hold it here, take a breath, and then move the next thing, like step by step. It feels almost like if it was like I feel like climbers have that mentality too. Like
so you're like drowning and you gotta like
right, like swimmers or something. Like you're going through it and it's like no, slow it down and just work the problem. There's a million times in practice. Yeah. It's just now there's a million drunk fans screaming. And, right. When I'm sure they don't even hear them.
Oh, you probably do.
I mean, like you know what I mean? You know how like
you probably
athletes
phase
say,
them out, but
like it just sounds like it sounds
roar.
like it probably sounds like white noise at some point. Like it's just like, and you're just kind of like in
fighter. Yeah. But it's interesting you say that because behind the scenes, the rear naked choke, which is how she lost, is kind of known as the I quit move. So like when a fighter like no longer has the energy or like they don't feel like they can compete, you can't just roll over, but you can. So I can get into a position where you kind of end up taking my back and I kind of end up giving you my neck.
But I don't know. It didn't seem, at least from what I saw, it didn't seem like it was a quit move in the sense because
the spinning back kick she had tried. She jumped on her. So, but
she had tried to get Grasso with that kick, and I mean I get it. That kick probably takes a lot of energy out of you, like it's a like
it's your go-to move,
and it also seems like a high risk move. No,
Grasso said that she planned that out, like because Shevchenko does that kick a lot. So to the entry, she leaves herself open. She's facing the wrong way. It's a spinning back kick. So at some point you got to be going. So yeah, so she came in right at that moment where she's facing the other way and grabbed a hold of her, and the rest is history.
It's a back kick, right? So she's spinning
back kick. So she's facing the other way. So yeah, her leg is going out the other way
with her heel coming towards. So like
like that.
Yeah, because I remember Grasso
ended around and then you whip out the leg.
And Grasso ended up coming in between her legs essentially, right? She kind of like parried the leg and then like just bam, and it was what was crazy is how she just jumped on her too. Like legs and everything to lock her legs up.
Well, that's what I'm saying about the preparation. She knew about the kick. She knew about the tendency, and when she saw it, I bet they probably
they were making
100 different times. They probably practiced it, you know.
Dude, if that's the case, just the execution of that to be able to read it in live time
decide this is my
And
moment.
like I'm gonna jump
it.
on it. Like this is the probably
Ruth.
yeah. Like this is the prime moment to do it. Like because I'm sure she had done it earlier in the fight.
But it wasn't.
But
the
it wasn't
moment.
the perfect moment. And
She
I think
wasn't ready.
And I think the reason it worked was because Shevchenko was essentially against the fence. So she didn't really have another out.
Yeah, just push her up, nowhere to go, and then just.
And she's already
like
locked
a
up,
monkey
and then
on her.
just climb up on her, and that's crazy, dude. Like again, as someone that doesn't watch these fights, trying to understand like the level of skill and fitness and fucking just straight dedication, like to be able to like some of these athletes that are on the worldwide stage, you know, international stage, like, dude, it's just crazy how talented they are. You know, like it's crazy how they're freaks, dude. Like they're physical freaks. They're biological freaks, and I don't mean that in a like in a prerogative way. Like I mean that in a absolutely like just it's crazy to see that. And honestly, I will say, and not just because it's International Women's Month, but that fight was more exciting than the other fight.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say John Jones, the
main
event, yeah. To actually kind of shine him up a little bit, it's kind of impressive. He was the youngest champion at the light heavyweight division. I think he was 23 years old. Oh yeah,
because he had to gain a bunch of weight, right?
Yeah. So he was like 23 years old. He was the youngest UFC champion ever in the hardest division, or not the hardest, but like the 205-pound division is kind of like. It outshines the heavyweight, whereas like in boxing, it's all about the heavyweight. In the UFC, It's always been about 205. Like, because the big guys are kind of too slow to be technical, but those 205-pound guys, they're big and they move fast and they're killers.
Right.
So John moving up and like kind of making it look easy.
Right.
It was both very impressive that he was
able to reach that weight.
Not only make the weight, but however many years later, he going from being the youngest champion to now being probably the oldest current champion on their roster.
Okay.
He's like 40 years old or whatever.
Yeah,
so now as an old man, you know, he's still bringing it. So like you said, freaks of nature. Yeah, this guy is the freak of all freaks. He hasn't lost a fight.
If there's a bell curve, all these folks are like on that top 3%. Like the bottom of the bell curve over here, you know, like
just outliers.
Yeah. There's like 3 standard deviations away from
the physical and the mental. Like, imagine your job is to get butt naked, except for some undies, and go fight someone else in a cage. Right. You're probably gonna get bloodied. You might, get a ligament tear. Like, who knows? Like, what kind of hospital bill you're gonna have?
Like your shoulder could get dislocated.
All kinds of bad things can happen. Yeah. And the other guy's just as dedicated, just as crazy, just as talented.
Once it's just as bad.
Exactly. And you don't get half your money if you lose. So that you're both just like, I want my money. And I want the glory, everything. They're built different.
I was watching this documentary about like soccer players. I know it's a hard deviation, but I guess the point I was trying to make is that, so this documentary about soccer players, right? Like, you have to be also a freak of nature to be able to perform at like the highest levels of international soccer, right? And so one of the things that these coaches were talking about was that like the difference between like a player that makes it to, let's say, the English Premier League or the difference between like an English Premier League player and like somebody from a professional soccer league, let's say in Mexico or in like Guatemala or whatever, the difference between their skill set is substantially minimal, like substantially less than you think it would be. It's just that extra like bit of training and dedication that comes with the money and what would be the word? It comes with like the prestige of those higher echelons of soccer, right? So I can't imagine like what you were saying, how like you have these 2 people that have been absolutely dedicated to their craft, but there's that one infinitesimal percent
The 1 mile you ran.
Yeah,
that
or
they
no,
didn't.
those extra steps that you did, those extra reps that you
That's
did.
same about the 1 mile, the 1 push-up, the 1 hour of training that you did and that they didn't while they were playing
That 1
Xbox.
hour of rest that you got more than they did, you know, like
that's all it is.
That's all that like. That's all it is, because the belief in themselves, the mental game is exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so little that separates them. And that's, to me, like thinking about it, I'm like, that's incredible. That's crazy how that can even exist, you know?
Yeah, and someone like Shevchenko put in so many hours, you know,
Right.
early on. Like she started at, you know, as a child.
And her experience,
That
you know?
it took, you know, 5 years of her defending her championship for like the rest of the world to be like, all right, well, if that's where the bar is, then I guess I need to work twice as hard because I'm so far behind.
Right. Right.
So in like Alexa Grasso makes the woman who played Batman or Batgirl, the Mexican Batgirl, like the difference, you know, like, yeah, she, you know, the actress who did this, if she spent 10 years, could never defeat Valentina Shevchenko.
But I think it's one of those things where it's like, once it happens once, it opens the floodgates for people to
watch. It will only take a year for the next girl to knock off Alexa Grasso.
Right.
Now that it's,
Well, everyone, thank you for listening and watching. This has been Raul.
PJ.
We hope to see you with us again.
Come back for more.
Just come back.
Like, subscribe, do all that.